What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Historic Labs channel. This is the Journey to Launch Part 2. In this video, we're going to be going over finances and making sure that you have everything ready to go for your supplement company. I'm going to go over the things that I did to make sure that I had all my finances straight, ready for the end of the year, get ready to pay taxes when needed. So let's get into it. So you're going to grab your EIN, you're going to grab your paperwork for your LLC, and you're going to head over to Chase Bank. That's where we went. So I didn't do it online. I didn't open up the business account online. You can obviously go to chase.com/business. You'll be able to scroll and read some stuff, and it'll take you to obviously the right area. However, I actually went in person with my fiance. We're able to open up the account that day, grab a couple checks, and then we also opened up the Chase business credit card. So there's different options depending on your situation. And there's different things on here like annual fees, different APR rates, and different things like that. The Inc. Business Unlimited, the Inc. Business Preferred, Business Cash, Business Premier. So at that time in 2022, beginning of the year, I was still going full time with my new job with Boston Scientific. So I moved me and Kelsey and our two pets, cat and dog, across the country after I left the military from North Carolina to Northern California. That's where I was working at the time. I didn't really have a lot of money, and I was just, getting out of the military, getting everything started. At the same time, working on the supplement company. So my head was kind of everywhere. Finances were kind of everywhere. So I knew that from the experience that I got as an artillery officer in the military at 210 was money gets people fired. So my last year there, I was the S4 Alpha. So for those who know, they know I was the assistant logistics officer, and I learned a lot actually being in that position. Not only about finances, about supply, procurement, logistics, etc. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in other parts when we go over logistics and procurement. But for this one, I ended up going with this one, the Inc. Business Preferred Credit Card. So the annual fee is $95. It's pretty good. I ended up getting the 90,000 points, obviously, because I used the credit card to purchase our first batch of products. So it was pretty easy to get the 90,000 points, and then you earn 3 points on shipping and other stuff. So this one's pretty good if you are willing to pay the 95 annual fee, to be honest. If not, if you're in a crunch and you don't have a lot of money, but you obviously need some type of credit card so you can purchase things or make big purchases, then you can go with this one. And if you have a lot of money saved up and you want to reap different benefits, and then you can go with the Inc. Business Premier credit card. So when you apply for these credit cards, since your business is new and it's hasn't been 2 years in business, so when you open up other credit cards, for example, they look it up through your business and then your EIN. And you could see if you guys have questions about EIN, go ahead and watch part 1 that talks about, some of that in this playlist. For now, though, when you open up your first credit card, they're going to run your personal credit. So make sure that your personal credit is good to be able to open this up. There are other credit card options. Obviously, you go with Citibank, you can go with AMX, and other banks if you have, Bank of America, etc. So what I did is I opened up the Inc. Business Preferred Credit Card. I had the Chase account, business account, and savings. And then I also did a little bit of research here when it came to a business line of credit. So the business line of credit is similar to a credit card. However, it's a little bit different. The process, though, to get is the same. They'd still run your credit, and you have to have a job and et cetera, et cetera. However, though, for example, here, like AMX business line of credit offers, 250,000. And with, that money, you can make even bigger purchases for your business, or if you need to consolidate some of the debt, obviously, that you have accumulated through your credit cards or the risk taking that you've done with your business. The cool thing about a business line of credit is that, for example, here in this little picture on the iPhone, so if you can spend 15K, right? And you still have, the rest of that credit line, you can start paying off this 15K, and all of the APR is based off of the totality of the 15K, not necessarily off this 45K total. So you don't get charged the total amount of the 45K, just kind of like a credit card. And you're able to pull, obviously, withdraw funds from there, make repayments. It's pretty cool. I ended up doing this and we got pre-approved for a good chunk of change. And I used this to purchase a lot of the second, third, and fourth rounds of our products, especially when we launched our entire historic line, like these right here. This was a huge launch and we took a lot of risk here. However, it ended up paying off. So sometimes you obviously need to believe in what you're doing and you got to take a little bit of risk, and sometimes it's not going to work out. Like I've made a lot of mistakes, especially with the finance aspect, but I got my systems correct. It took me some time and a lot of research, but the military and like the Marine Corps, working that logistics position helped me understand systems. Like if you don't have the experience of managing, people or systems, because right, systems are pretty much just a conglomerate of people to do a certain task or reach a certain goal. But starting this business and everything I've learned, it allowed me to understand the systems and do research and be able to know, when you're learning something new, what is it going to benefit you in and why, and then how do you mitigate, the fallouts. So I ended up getting the business line of credit. We got approved. You're able to access it on your account. It's super, super easy. And then, okay. And if you also want another credit card, just so everyone knows, there is a lot of risk taking here. I had this plan, I had this dream. I needed to complete and do the thing. I needed to complete and just make Historic Labs happen, no matter what. So let's just summarize it real quick. Business checking account and or savings, business credit card, business line of credit, and then I also took out this cool card right here. So this is the American Express Blue Business Cash Card. They're really cool with cash back. So I ended up using this for some orders that needed to come through for our creatine and our beta alanine. This helped me get those orders. The approval process is the same thing as everything else. You have to apply now. They run your personal credit. They ask you for your income. So I think my biggest recommendation would be, if you don't have a primary job, don't start a business unless you have like a lot of capital and you don't need credit. You don't need help from a financial source like this. But if you don't have a lot of capital, you have a great idea, or you want to get into supplements, start here and make sure you have a primary job, primary income to pay your bills, put food on the table. Everything else will come. It just takes time. So this Blue Cash Card has a lot of benefits. The coolest thing about this one is 0 annual fee. Earn 2% cash back on all eligible purchases. And then there's Amex has plenty of credit cards that you can look into. I'm not going to read all of them, but you guys can go ahead and learn more about them. I think right now potentially we get another credit card. We'll probably be doing the Amazon one, especially the business one. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research on that one and see if it's worth it. But for now, we have Chase and Amex. All right. So at this point, you're super excited. You have a great idea for your supplement company, and you have money now. You have let's say, for example, you have a $10,000 limit on your Blue Cash card. You have a $20,000 limit on your Chase card. You have 10 grand on your line of credit, and you just start spending, marketing, apps for your e-commerce platform. You start buying, business dinners, just events. You start doing events. Like we did the Anaheim Fit Expo last year. We did the LA Fit Expo this year. So you just start spending, racking out. End of the year comes and you got to get your finances on check. You got to make sure that everything was spent appropriately. Your profit and loss. You know everything that went into your business and out. So what I did is I knew that I needed a system. So I went with QuickBooks. So with QuickBooks, I recommend it for every small business. Some people use other platforms. That's fine. I did some research. This is the one that we went with. And, there's different tiers, like Simple Start, Plus, Advanced, depending on how much money you have. To be honest, I went with the Simple Start because I don't need more than, one user. I don't need more than one user. So like to me, it was like, why am I going to spend $30 more if I don't need a user? and everything's pretty good. Like, do I need a comprehensive report? Not necessarily. You have your profit and loss, your balance sheet. You can categorize all of your expenses, right, as they come in. You could connect all of your stuff to QuickBooks. So we have our Chase stuff connected and our AMX stuff connected. Super easy. You could also send invoices from QuickBooks. It was super easy to send an invoice here. You literally input the customer, you click if they can use credit card, debit card, wire transfer, ACH, etc. It makes it super easy. I even connected our Stripe on our other Shopify platform to QuickBooks. You can even connect Venmo to QuickBooks. So all the money, like for example, if you guys are in an event, you have your little QR code for your different ways of getting paid. You could have Zelle, Venmo, Stripe, whatever your forms of payment you have. We always put out a little like QR code thing where it shows all of our forms of payment. I also have the POS system for Shopify, and I'll go over some of that when I start talking about Shopify itself and the platform. But Venmo's super easy. You literally just get a business profile, connect it to your personal if you want. I did. I have them like interchangeable, so whenever I'm on my phone, if I need to get paid, to Historic Labs, I just switch, show people the QR code, scan, paid. You could even send money back and forth through Venmo from your personal to your business profile, which makes it super convenient. Venmo also does like these grants, like small business grants, so you can apply for them. I think they do them once a year. I applied last year but didn't get it. I'm gonna try again this year. They do, I think, 20 grand, or it might be like 5 grand per person. I'd have to check that for sure, but I mean, it's free money. It's a grant. Like, you just got to make sure you read the terms and conditions and sign up. You have nothing to lose, because at the end of the day, you might need some extra cash, for your business, for marketing, for ads, for lunches, dinners with clients. So it's super easy. Okay, so now that you have your QuickBooks set up, everything's connected. All of your cards, your accounts are connected. Everything's looking good. You can categorize everything from an expense to sales to marketing and advertising to office supplies, all that stuff. But you're not an expert on it. Sometimes you make mistakes. So what I did at the end of the year, about December, January timeframe, I needed an accountant. So you can jump over to Fiverr. And then I searched bookkeeping. You can search other stuff, but obviously bookkeeping makes sense. You can scroll through here, read what capabilities all these accountants have, how they can help you if they have experience with QuickBooks. Like, see this one right here. They have the QuickBooks logo just, to get you to click on it, make sure that they have the experience. Here's a good one. Watch QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Book setup, bookkeeping, cleanup, reconciliation. Those are all important things, because you have to make sure on QuickBooks when you reconcile that every dollar in and out makes sense. I didn't want to do all that because I'm not an accountant. I'm not a finance guy. So when I looked at bookkeeping, right, I ended up finding Cassidy. She is super awesome. So shout out to Cassidy. Hit her up if you need anything about, bookkeeping, finances. Let her know Historic Labs sent you, Steven. First off, her response time is crazy. 2 hours. Like, I don't know what time she's at, if she's PST, Central Time, East Coast time, but she's always responsive. Look at her 5-star reviews. Every single job she's done, look at that, has been a 5-star review. Look at these comments. Pleasure working with her. She's polite, experienced. She's super experienced. She fixed and reconciled my books she did 2022, 2023 in like 48 hours. Obviously, I'm not some extensive, comprehensive business. Our business model is pretty straightforward. It's just sales and expenses, and we spend on marketing and advertising. But 48 hours, came back, boom. She had everything. She had everything done. And on top of that, she called me. We had a FaceTime call or a Zoom meeting or whatever. And then she showed me how to use QuickBooks, and she told me exactly where I need to go to categorize certain things because of, for example, we carry inventory. So let's say, for example, you paid like 20 grand for all this product right here. And technically it's inventory. It still has value. It's not like I spent 20 grand and then that 20 grand is completely just an expense. If I didn't have inventory, then yes, it would be an expense. But since we have inventory, this has a $20,000 value. And as we sell, that $20,000 value is going down, obviously, because we're getting rid of it. So she just did my 2024 reconcile, obviously, because it's March 21 taxes are due in a couple of weeks. So I got to make sure I get that done. Well, that sums up this video about finances. Stay tuned for more parts. Check out the description below. Use code HISTORIC for 10% off your next order. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more historic content.